a song about Dogs Rescue. Introducing the world's greatest rap group, support group, communications group, Madison. Semi.
So we're here with Abby, who's a volunteer, would you say, or like director?
I'm an employee, but I'm also a volunteer.
Yeah. Of the Big Dog Rescue, and just going to be asking her some questions to help us get a grant for the dog shelter. So I don't know, I guess I'll get started. Okay.
We can provide shelter for the dogs here, and we rescue the dogs, but technically we're both. During the Katrina crisis, we had over 30 dogs here.
Okay.
We like to keep it below 12.
Okay.
But we can. We have a big, yes. It's about 10,
okay.
Between 10 and 15.
Gotcha.
It can go up or down on any given day, depending upon who comes in, who goes out. Oh, it's very important.
Okay.
Yes, very important. And it does happen, and all dogs are neutered or spayed before they go into their homes. Yes, they're all microchipped. Very important. We keep everything clean.
Yeah, it looks pretty nice here with just the gardening and everything.
That's important to the health of the animal as well.
There's a lot of gates around the fences.
Yeah, everything, the entire 20 acres is fenced. So if the dog gets out, it would be hard for them to get further in the property. We put everything we have back into the animals, basically. So we want them to go out fully vetted, fully vaccinated, in good health, with a good temperament. And we're careful about where they go, so we spend time finding the right home. So that adds to the expense, because their stay is usually a little bit longer here than at some rescues. Cheryl had them flown.
Okay.
There was a woman that had a private plane, and she flew over 60 animals out, and they landed in the Sonoma County shelter. Normally our transporters, we have a couple of main transporters who do most of the transport.
Okay.
So, but that's important because we have to be able to get the animals from the shelters to here. It's not always easy. You know, the transportation is a very expensive item, and we have to pay the transporters. Nobody can afford to do that for free. It is a big part of the cost of the dog. It's a big part of the overhead. It's expensive. But we want the dogs to be healthy. Well, there's spaying and neutering. A lot of the dogs that come here Cheryl takes a lot of medical cases, which is a little unusual. Not a lot of rescues can afford to do that. For example, Tilly, that little dog, had to have major internal surgery. Phaedra is going to have her eye fixed, cherry eye. She's done a hip replacement on a dog. She's done skeletal, dogs that have broken legs, broken shoulders, dogs that have been abused that have physical scars as well as mental scars. So, the basics are neuter, spay, microchip, shots, flea treatments, deworming. That's the basic. And then there's 90% of the dogs need something above and beyond that. So our adoption fee doesn't cover what we end up spending on the dogs. We rarely come out ahead. Very, very. Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, here they have a large outdoor area, so they can be outside in the fresh air during the day. We have 2 young men working here that are helping to train the dogs. In the evenings, they all go. You saw we have a brand new structure where they get to sleep. They have their own individual runs. They're not co-housed at night, so we don't have to worry about dogs getting into fights or having some kind of a problem with another dog. So yeah, that's important. We fed twice a day. So very important what we feed. They're all on the same diets. We try not to switch very often. Sometimes we have to, depending upon what's available, what the cost is, but we're pretty consistent about what they do. That's extremely important because we want them to be healthy and not have stomach issues. We will pay a rehoming fee because that's what you should do when you place a dog. If you're a responsible person, you're trying to rehome a dog, you should charge a rehoming fee. So if there's a dog out there that we feel that needs rescuing, we will pay the rehoming fee. But that's fairly infrequent. Most of the times we get the dogs from county or city shelters where they're on euthanasia lists.
Okay, gotcha.
So, well, the adoption fee ranges from $250 to $400.
Okay.
We normally don't ever charge above $250 unless it's a dog that, you know, it's highly desirable, and then what we do with that money is we put it back into the medical fund. So if we get a little bit more for another dog, it just goes right back into the rescue. And we always explain to people, this is maybe a dog that's a little more sought after, so they're happy to pay a little bit extra, but it always goes for another dog. Well, you know, we have a pretty big group of volunteers now. We probably have about a dozen volunteers.
Okay.
We have about 6 that come on the weekends on and off now, and we've got a few during the week, at least another 6 during the week. Kind of off and on. Nobody's usually here at one time, but we've got a nice group of volunteers. I can tell you exactly.
Okay.
We have 4 paid staff, which are I'm part-time, Michelle's part-time, the boys are full-time, and then we have Antonio who lives on the property who cares for the property.
Okay.
So it's Big Dog Rescue is 4. Big Dog started, Cheryl started Big Dog about 13 to 14 years ago. It started as a horse rescue.
Okay.
And then sort of became a dog rescue. Well, it depends. I mean, this week we got 3 new dogs, 3 new dogs you saw, and we adopted out 2 last weekend. So we don't have huge adoptions, but that's what I was saying is we're careful about where we place the dogs because we don't want them to come back. Right. So on the average, we probably get about 6 dogs a month. It can be higher. It can be as much as 8 or 9 or 10, but that's pretty unlikely unless we have a lot of adoptions because we don't want to bring a lot of dogs in and have a lot of dogs here at one time. We like to keep it in schools. Well, people start by filling out an application, usually online, or we fax it. And then if everything looks looks okay, then they make an appointment. They come and meet the dog. And we usually make them come back at least once, so they usually have a couple of visits here before they can take the dog home. And they take the dog home as a foster. They get a couple of weeks to try it and see if it's going to work. If it doesn't work, they bring the dog back. If it works, the adoption is complete. They do all the paperwork before they leave, pay the fee, and that's all processed after their foster period's up. And if the dog, for some reason the dog doesn't work out, they can bring it back anytime during its lifetime. No, I mean, we hope that they all stay in their homes forever, but it's not. We're getting 2 dogs back this weekend after 2.5 years in the home.
Alright, well, thanks for your time.
Wait, you want to show it, Andrew, real fast?
Easy, easy. Hey, buddy.
This appears to be a aggression test tool. When the animals are eating, you will siphon it through their food, and if they bite the hand, then they will probably bite your hand as well. And if they don't, then you know they're one step closer to adoption.
Why?
So, a lot of dogs are... That's always, if you ever are, getting a dog. Hey, come on, calm down. Calm down. That's something that if you see any signs of, you want to work really hard to dissuade that. You should always be able to, with your own dog, you should always be able to stop them, take anything out of their mouth that you want, just in case they ever get into something that's dangerous to them. All right. Who wants him?
Got it.
Yeah, he's going to be a little bit of a handful even with the harness on. And it's a little too tight, but for a short walk, I'm sure it'll be worth it as far as he's concerned.
Loud.
Yeah. I think he's still a